Hello, my name is Aaron Collier. I'm the head of programming for Toronto Real Asian International Film Festival. We're on day 4, so I almost forgot my name. I hope you enjoyed our presentation of Goodbye Mother. So just a reminder that if you're watching live on Cinesend and you want to ask a question of our guest, there is a Ask a Question bar at the top of the chat. And put your question in, and then it'll be put in the hopper, and then we'll talk to we'll ask it of our guests. So if you are on a phone, the chat is at the bottom. Apparently, I don't know. I've never looked at the phone. Looked at it on my phone. So just to let you all know that any comments and question is subject to our code of conduct. So realasian.com/code of conduct. Please check that out. And if you'd like to join in the discussion about the film, we have a check out our Real Asian Film Forum. So realasian.com/film forum. For this Q&A, I'm really excited to have a discussion with Trinh Dinh Le Minh, whose participation was made possible with the support from the CBC. So let's get to it, and I'd like to welcome Minh.
Hi everybody.
Hi, Minh.
My
Can
name
you?
is My
Yeah.
name is Trinh Dinh Le Minh. I'm the director of Goodbye Mother, and now it's 8:02 a.m. in Vietnam, and it's a really kind of like early morning.
Well,
Thank you so much for including me.
Yeah, thanks for waking up so early. And where in Vietnam are you joining us from?
Yeah, I'm in Ho Chi Minh City, Saigon now. Yeah.
Awesome. So we're so lucky to have you, and we met a few days ago, and we chatted online a little bit ahead of time, and one of the things is like we really loved this film. Our programming committee saw it and was just like, we have to show this, and it's such a lovely film. There's so many things that are happening in it that we'll talk about, but it's one of those things that we feel unfortunate that we're not watching this all together in a theater, but I know that people are enjoying this film a lot, and a lot of people have been looking forward to it. So, and this digital presentation allows us to talk to you at in Ho Chi Minh City at 8 in the morning. So thanks thanks again for waking up and joining us. So one of the things that I'm always interested in talking to filmmakers is people who are watching this discussion will have seen the film and they know the story of the film, but it's always really interesting to hear the story, the narrative of your journey, and the narrative of the journey of the film too. So let's kind of like take it back to the beginning, and what was the beginning of this story of this film project for you?
Yeah. So basically, like for me, Goodbye Mother was my first feature, my debut. So it's extremely important for a director because it's the way you need to showcase yourself into the world, into the industry, into other filmmakers. And like we also hope that after the first film, we can like continue making the second one. So basically, like I studied in the US for 3 years, and then after coming back, I have one goal, which is to make the first film. And back then, the writer of the film, he approached me, and then he said like, okay, I have an idea, and I want to work with you. The writer of the film, his name is Nhi Bui, and we just like start working together for a few years, from like idea to treatment into like the first draft, and then the final draft, and including like some pitch to the investor. So we were like the first pitch, and it's become like the green light for the film. And then so basically I show this story in the first way immediately because I feel totally like connected and relatable to the theme of the film, which is about the personal choice versus like the expectation of the traditional family, which is the theme that I do really care. I get obsessed at the same time.
No, and those themes are so accessible too, about like the choice of who you love and the choice of how you want to live your life versus like these these really massive expectations, you know, and I think that it's that's one of the things that's so relatable about the film. But you know, I didn't know that you were kind of, so you were there the entire development process of the story from the beginning with the writer. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly. I didn't write the film, but I always like gave the writer notes, and also like at the end of the production process, I add some details of the film. Some of details may relate to my personal experience, but some of details that also like relate to my director choice and treatment for the script. Yeah, so I also like this script because it's also challenging for me, because back then when I make short films, I only like direct scenes with maybe like 2 or 3 people at the same time, and I always try to explore the intimate uh, relationship between people. But in this scene, this film is a little bit tough for me, and also like kind of like make me really interested and like eager to direct, because there's some scene that involve like maybe 10 actors plus the crowd, the extras, and also I have to explore not only the intimate relationship, but also like the way they open up to the public at the same time. So I think for a director, I always love something safe but also challenging at the same time.
And so so I'm so interested in hearing some about some of these personal experiences that you were able to kind of infuse in the script, and then also some of these personal challenges in terms of like director craft. So maybe we can talk about the second one first. And so, you know, you mentioned, you know, that your short films usually, you know, as you do in film school, tend to be maybe a two-hander, right? Two characters, that kind of thing. But, you know, for instance, there's the party scene. It has like, you have all these extras, and then you have all the family, the actors playing the family. So what were some things challenging? Like, you know, take us into a little bit of film school here, and tell us what is challenging about directing a scene with so many people in it.
Yeah, so the first thing I can like hate the crowd. So like when we have like the big set, it's become extremely like crowded and noisy, and then sometimes I had a tendency of like losing my focus. So this is the first challenge. But the second thing, more important thing, is like we have like 10 actors and actresses. So I have to find a strategy, find a way to work with them individually, and also like a way to work with them as a group, right? So and also like for the story itself, in this scene we had like they have to have like every single characters have like their own goals, and then they also like have some kind of like deep design inside, but also like they have a different way to like really express their attitude. They may pretend, they may behave differently in front of people and the crowd, in front of other people. So I have to find a way to balance the deep desire inside to convey that to the audience, but also like to keep like the normal behavior of people when they really have to face the crowd. Yeah.
And so what were some of the strategies that you found that worked out for you?
Yeah, so basically like in 10 actor and actress, there are some different type of like acting methods different from actor and actress. So basically like I have to focus in the core, like whoever be the main characters or main focus of that scene or that shot. And then for other people, I have to really like, ask them to not only like in the background extras, they have to continue acting. So like basically I really want every single actors in that scene to really react at the moment, to be like have a organic reaction and expression. And okay, so for some people, like for example like the grandma, she always like fully like energetic. So like basically she helped me a lot in order to really create the energy for that scene. For example like the banquet scene, she was the one who helped me to connect with other actors as well, so keep the energy always full and positive during the whole day. It really hot day of shooting.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the things that we've been doing a lot of these Q&As with other directors, and it's so cool to hear stories from the set of like actors really helping each other out, and because for you as a director you have a million things going on, right? And so whenever that happens, it's a great story. So I'm curious to circle back to some of the personal experiences in the development of the project that you were able to kind of add to the script. Maybe can you give some examples of those?
Yeah, so like I think like it also come from my own experience. Like after coming back in the US, the first thing I want to do is that I want to move out. I want just to live kind of like separate from my parents' home. But there was a little bit of drama back then because this is a big thing in kind of like Asian culture when like son daughter needs to share the same house under one roof with parents. Although like I was really clear with my mom that I always come back for dinner, but then back then there was kind of like a huge drama, a lot of cries and arguments and confrontation. So like that's little experience, not little but maybe big experience for me that already kind of like immersed into the film. Because in the film the son also like face like kind of like the same dilemma like me, like doesn't know if she should stay or he should like come back to the US. For me something more personal like living in or moving out. Yeah, that's something that a director can use in the film. So on the screen, it can be like interpreted like in a different ways. But I think like in every single story, in every single film, the director needs to find a connection to the elements of the story.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because if you're not connecting to it, then audience won't, right? So.
Oh, and then one more thing, maybe like if you already watched the film, I put some personal kind of like interest, and not only interest but also like personal obsession. Like for example, like the ending shot of the film, because I did had a hard time practicing driving in the US. I know like living in Canada, in the US, we all need like a car to be like had a real freedom. So like at the end of the day, I put that image at the end of the film. It's also come from my experience, but also my wish for my mom that she could drive sometimes in Vietnam or in the US or anywhere in the world, because I think like we do kind of like feel there is a freedom over there when we can drive ourselves to everywhere that we want. Yeah. For instance, then the film Mars. Yeah.
So I guess I wanted to talk a little bit about the actors. Like you have this kind of big family ensemble film, right? And so can we talk a little bit about the casting process of how you found some of the actors?
Yeah, so like when making this film, one of the biggest challenge for me is to find two actors for the couple, for the role of Van and Ian in the film. So like actually I have to admit that in Vietnam we don't have so much choice for that role, because there is a early young not middle age but really young actors, and then they have to be really talented and have like acting skill, and then like they also have to have great chemistry together. So like for all of the actors that we have in the market now, that there are something I'm not quite sure about them. So like we have to start casting from scratch. Yeah, so basically like Van and Ian were the most like enthusiastic and devoted actors when they just show up in the casting room. And one more important thing is that they always like look great together, because there seem like there's chemistry between them, which is I value a lot, and that helped me to relieve my casting choice. because actually I was kind of like doubtful back then because I actually in my imagination for the role of Van, it should he should look a little bit different. But my method of like working with actor is like sometimes if I feel like okay, this is the actor that I want to work with, I can like adjust some parts of the script and even like some parts of the characters to kind of like match him. So like the whole working process seemed like we bonding the characters again with the actors. Yeah. So I value like he's like he also the Van the this actor he's kind of really like always they wanna take risks. So that's the thing that I really like. I always like want actor to be kind of like out of his or her comfort zone. I love it. Yeah, and for the rest of the family member is a little bit easier somehow because I can cast a veteran actors with a bunch of experience in terms of acting. So I and my team, my producer team have some names in our mind, and then we kind of like match the characters with some actors beforehand. Um, okay, but the most also like really challenging and headache is the casting for the mom. In Vietnam, for some reason, like some actors, like they don't prefer playing this kind of role because like for them it's really nice. They love it, but it's also like challenging, and they don't know if they can attract the audience because they prefer more like comedic roles, like the role of the two aunties, for example, or maybe the role of the grandma because they're more playful. They talk a lot, and then they can tease. They can kind of like tease people. So after a while, at the very end of the day, I found Hồng Đào. I always want to cast her, but the problem was she staying in the US. So like finally after like kind of like hopeless, I 1 month before the production, I contacted her, and then like just like this, we talk like online like this, and then in the very first meeting, I know exactly like she would be like the mom, the mother in the film. And one of the interesting thing is that it's already like 20 years she haven't played drama role. She's now is a comedian in the Vietnamese community in the
Yeah.
US. So that's something really interesting. It's just a comeback for her into more like serious like drama role. And that if you watch the film, I think that you guys may really like appreciate her performance in the film. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's so interesting to hear that, other actors considering that role didn't want to do it because it is this role that is very internal, right? Like,
Yeah.
and she does such a good job of, just, I mean, she's kind of the head of this family now. She has all these things that she's trying to hold together, and you really, I mean, I think it turned out so well for you. We had a discussion with another director who was just talking about the same situation. It's like a month out, and it's like, and then you finally get your person, right? So, so it's all part of that kind of like magic or good luck that can happen with a film. So, but she was just really, really great for the role. I wanted to go back to the actors who played Van and Ian. So Lan Tan and Vo Dien Gia Hui. Sorry, hope I said it okay. But I think I heard that maybe there was there challenges for them, or also casting that role in general for you, that these characters were LGBT characters, and was there any resistance, or you had actors that were not interested in coming out for those roles?
Yeah, I did have some actors refuse to cast the role because it's not because they have any problem with the LGBT community, but they're afraid like they cannot really transform themselves into a LGBT role. So like I did have some problem like that. But like I said before, Tan and Hui, they really devoted, and they don't afraid of anything, and then they more than willing to transform themselves into the characters. The background of the characters are totally different from them. actually like my two actors have never been in the US, have never been outside of Vietnam when they took the role, and for sure like they didn't have any experience like being in a couple yeah with the other guy. Maybe I guessing I haven't talked with them about that, but we have to start wounding the characters and the couple and the chemistry from the very beginning by a lot of things. For example, like not only about rehearsal, but also like a lot of session, like just drinking beer and talking about the role, and just have some session of maybe go swimming, picnicking, whatever. Okay, photo sessions together to build up their chemistry like the day after day. Yeah, so one of the thing I really like appreciate that Tan and Hui also is like they for them it's really important as well because they were their debut roles as well. Not only my directorial debut, but also like their debut as actors on a big screen. So they knew the importance of how they should try hard and harder in order to impress the audience. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like what you were talking about earlier, just like really, really pushing themselves. You needed young actors who were really willing to push themselves. And then what has the reception for them been with these roles? I know this film has been out for about a year, and actually I wanted to talk about that in a second too. But what's been the reception for them? Has it helped them get more work?
Yeah, actually, I think like they score a lot inside the audience. I mean, like they love them, and then they got a huge fan club after this film for some reason. And then like also like one of the thing maybe good, also not good for them because right now the audience always think of them as a couple. Yeah, but Lãng Thanh after this film, she got like 2 or 3 roles immediately because people just in the industry just like him a lot. And Gia Hui, the other actor, he's still improving and he's still like waiting for another role. But he's also like appeared in some series right now. So like everything is so good for them. So yeah, I think like no pain, no gain. So at the end of the day, they really like. I think their career should be really like last long, and then when they talk about them, I think the audience and the industry still think about this film as an important like mark for them.
Yeah, and their chemistry is great. They're both really cute, and so you can see why they would have a fan club. And so this film has been out for I guess a little over a year now, and so. Maybe you can talk a little bit about some of the reception to it. Both, when it first came out, you had theatrical, and then how has it lived, and what's the response been, as it's been released digitally as well, especially in Vietnam.
So like we did release the film about more than a years ago. Back then, like we released it at the end of August. So like it's still the huge competition because like we still have like Hollywood blockbuster like in the theaters back then, and we released the film at the same time with like the Fast 9, right? Maybe, and also like the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and then there are Korean and then like Taiwanese film as well. So like, but the Goodbye Mother did really well. It's received a huge and really like favor support from not only the community, the LGBT plus community, but also their friends and all of the moviegoers of Vietnam. Although like we didn't like make it like become like a blockbuster, but it's still popular among audience and also like in the industry, and the press and the film critics also love the film a lot. So like after the theatrical release, we already traveled with the film to different film festival, international film festival, such as Busan and Hawaii, and then like a lot of film festival in the US, and some film festival in Europe as well. and now we have traveled to Canada.
Yeah.
It's just a good thing. And the film also like got the theatrical release in Taiwan during like the month that Taiwan celebrate the month of legalized same-sex marriage. So it's become something really like touching for us and make us proud because the film has that travel and become like an important some kind of important thing for not only the LGBT plus community but also like for Asian community and all of the moviegoers. Yeah,
For
yeah.
sure. Yeah. No, it's great to hear the response has been so positive. Um, I was curious when we had spoken before. You mentioned that one of your goals was to do a different kind of LGBT film that is different than what is normally put out or that you had commonly seen put out in Vietnam. Can you talk a little bit about your approach to that and your kind of creative goals?
So like Goodbye Mother also received like positive feedback like from the LGBT plus community and also like from other scholars somehow because they like the way myself portrayed the LGBT couple in the film because I just like normalize everything. I make the couple looks when they have like intimate reaction and actions together, they just look really normal. And then sometimes they have to hide their feeling. It's because like the settings were in Vietnam, but with the scene when they only by themselves, they can like just react really normally. I don't have to exaggerate everything because like back then in Vietnam, there was a tendency of like try to portray LGBT couples like some kind of like tragedy or maybe like somehow make fun of them because they play the most like comedian roles just to like tease people somehow. So like when audience and scholars in Vietnam when they watch the film they think like this is like kind of like a little step of improvement the image of LGBT couples in Vietnam. Yeah.
And was that something that when the writer Boy approached you, or like was that something that you kind of had this vision of doing a film that showed a couple in this fashion that it was not like what had been shown before?
Yeah, it had been our like vision since the very beginning, since the first day. Because for us, like when we love each other, it's just so normal to express our love to each other. And I do think like in Vietnam, if we go outside and if we just see a couple same sex or like kissing or holding their hands, and then we just see like, oh, this is so beautiful. It's just a normal thing. There's no thing that we have to really care about anymore. Then when we already get the equality, it's my opinion. Yeah.
No, thanks for that. We have some questions that are coming through in the chat now. So, before that, I just wanted to talk one more. I had one more question. So,
Okay.
the location is so interesting. It's so beautiful. I'm wondering where that is. It's kind of like on this kind of estate. Maybe you can talk a little bit about what that location represents, and how you found that location too.
So actually, like the location of the film is the suburban of Ho Chi Minh City is on the way to connect Ho Chi Minh City with other provinces and village. So and Nibu also like shows this type of settings because like I think it can play the role of like a transition of the old and new values, traditional values, and also like conservative values of Vietnam. So if you watch the film, you see like those two guys, they got the love from the neighbors. Everyone in the neighbor and the big family just so connected. It's a way we have in the village in Vietnam. Every people knows the story of other people, of other families. So this is a good thing. But the other thing is that we don't have any that much privacy anymore. We still share the traditional value, but at the same time, because like Van and Ian, they play the role of an LGBT couple. There's something maybe a little bit new for them. So like it's really hard for them to accept at first point. Okay, but you also like see like the nephew, right, in the film. She belongs to the younger generation, and she like learning, she adapting, she learning new values from the city and from the West. So like the way she look at this couple is just like showing like kind of like admiration somehow. So I think the settings also important in this film. Yeah.
And did you the actual location that you shot at was that something you were going around and trying to find the right place? What was kind of the process of finding the actual location to shoot at?
So for the location scouting, we did spend time going to different locations to check it out, and we just have like a description after reading the script. So like basically we went to maybe about 10 locations, and finally like we show that location because this is not so far from the city, maybe like about 15 miles only, so not that far. But there is have a look of the suburban area that we looking for.
Okay. Well, we have some questions that are coming through, so let's start with the first one. So the first question is, I noticed in the film that there was a normalcy around co-sleeping. Can you speak upon the practice of co-sleeping in Vietnam, especially as it pertained to Van and Ian versus his other family members?
Yeah, so that's something really Vietnamese, because I know in the West maybe like sharing the same bed with other people become like something really big. But in Vietnam, you can expect like maybe like 5 or 4 people can sharing the same bed. So that's why there's some kind of like dilemmas for Ian in the very first night when he's totally like had the background from the West, and he has to share the bed with like not only one but like 2 other people, and she like become like the hot dog of the donut. That donut, the hot dog of the buns. Okay, whatever.
Yeah.
So this is something that's showing like this how they both have like privacy, but it's a really kind of like risky privacy. Someone can enter their rooms anytime, and then so their love is kind of like risky to be like conveyed and concealed to other, not concealed, okay, to be like spread out to other people. So I wanna make the audience feel like that dilemmas as well by showing very early in the film that the co-sleeping culture is something, and also like it's really important for them like to pretend that they actually like friends, not like a real couple.
Yeah, it's one of those. I mean, I think you did a great job of like showing how the idea of space, personal space, and like privacy is so different for us in North America than it is in Asian cultures, right? And so for Ian especially. Okay, so number 2 here. We have a question. When the grandma winked at the end, hugging by to her actual grandson, did this mean she knew who her real grandson all along was, and was just pretending?
Oh, it's a really interesting question, and actually, it's kind of a secret. I think like I will leave it to the audience, but in my opinion, I think like in this film, the grandma is actually he also a great actress. Like you said, like maybe she pretending the whole time, because I know that she the oldest, so she know all of the problems of this family, and she understand that like maybe like she already find out even before the mom, and also she understand that like if something wrong happen, then the family may break down without the management of Missy Hut, the mother. So maybe that's her strategy to keep everything like articulate and being together. It's just one of the theory. You may have different theory for yourself. This is the beauty of like film and movies because people can have different interpretation for every single scene, for every single shot, and every single expression of the actors and actresses.
And it's kind of reflective of people's own experience and what they want, what they want a movie to do, right?
Yeah.
And I found, like, there's so many kind of entry points in this film for people to relate to in terms of, whether it's kind of family duty, relationships, relationships with your loved ones, your partners, or your parents. But one of the things that I really related to in this film is that my grandmother also had dementia, and to see that happening, and I would only see her once every few years or something like that, and so I think you did such a great job of like bringing together so many things that so many families go through. So I really appreciated that. Let's go to question number 3. So the question is, I was wondering what the inspiration was for the movie and if there's any big significance to naming it Goodbye Mother.
Yeah, so regarding the title of the film, I think in Vietnam it had different meaning. It's just like a ritual for every single son to say goodbye to mom, dad before going to school, not before going to work. When we say goodbye mother, if you are Vietnamese, you will understand that. But actually, when we translate the film into Korean and Chinese, actually audience over there, they said like this is a really beautiful name because like goodbye mother somehow when translated to Korean or Chinese, it means like okay, goodbye and hello, both at the same time, up to the situations, up to the context. So like I think like he say this is important that when say goodbye mother that he has to move on, but it doesn't mean he's not going to come back. It's just like a point that he already confessed and make her mom understand more about himself, and also like it's going to heal and also going to improve the relationship of mom, mother, and son. I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's again there's like these kind of like different readings that an audience can have, and like you were talking about your own experience of like with your own parents and your mom, like trying to move out and that kind of thing, and it is a big deal. So actually, so we have I actually wanted to change course a little bit, and if people still have some questions that they want to throw into the chat, please do. But I actually wanted to switch this up a little bit, and we actually have a podcast where we ask filmmakers a whole bunch of series of questions. So it's always interesting to hear these this kind of like insight. And I'm always like really surprised what filmmakers have to say. So I don't know if I'll ask you all of these, but so for the first one is when you're on set, when you're shooting a film, do you have a ritual that like every day on set I have to do this, right? Or just do you have a ritual when you're shooting?
It's maybe not a visual, but actually I love watching at the monitor when actors and actresses waiting for the shot, because sometimes it helped me to have some more like inspiration and also like more ideas for even like that shot or that scene. For example, like let's give an example in Goodbye Mother, while waiting for Lãnh Thanh and Hồng Đào playing a really kind of like dramatic roles of confession. No, not confession, but like confrontation after the confession in front of the bathroom. Now they are both inside the bedroom of the mom, and then actually like during that shot, while waiting for the camera to set up, like Lãnh Thanh just like accidentally like lie down on the bed. So I think it's so beautiful. So like I changed my blocking, and then I asked Lãnh Thanh to add some moment in that scene, totally like lie down in front of the foot of the mom. Yeah, so that is become something beautiful and one of my favorite moments of the film. It's because of like the actor just want to rest a bit before the take, and then I find out that is a beautiful image for the film. So yeah, that's it.
Oh, that's awesome. That's really great. Like,
Yeah.
it's, one of the things that, talking about these rituals that directors have, it's like there's so many things to pick up on. And, a lot of people who are watching might be emerging filmmakers, and to hear some of this insight. And that's so, that's so nice, because it's like there is like the first question about sleeping, and there's a lot of kind of like this really gentle, kind of like lying down with each other, with other family members, and so like that moment is really beautiful in the film. So another question would be, what's the name of a film that like changed the way you saw films, or maybe changed your life?
Yeah, I would say like Tokyo Story by Ozu, because I didn't expect to watch the film just like gentle and calm, and then at the end of the film, everything just really comes together because of the beautiful of the way people behave to each other. That made me cry a lot. So I think like sometimes like film doesn't need to build up a big like dramatic moment, but the film itself needs to like have like bring audience and people to a different world of appreciation how beautiful our life is. Yeah.
And it's almost very rare to watch a gentle film these days. It's just like, it's just like stuff flying at you and blowing up, right? So
Yeah.
it can be really rare to watch a film that is gentle and surprising too. So yeah, I love that answer. Okay, now so a film that is like a guilty pleasure film.
Guilty pleasure film. I don't know, maybe like the Pitch Perfect. I
Oh, okay,
always
yeah.
I always like treasure like friendship during like college. So like I always love to see like a group of friends and girls like coming together try to like reconcile and like try to do something. So like yeah, I love being back to my college time again. So maybe like the Pitch Perfect is my guilty pleasure, and I always like love people singing in the big contest like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But what about Pitch Perfect 2 and 3? What about those?
Two, I have seen it. I like it, but I haven't seen the three. Maybe I should check it out. I heard it's not maybe not as good as the first one. I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah, I didn't see 2 and 3, but I figured I'd
okay.
ask you anyway.
Yeah.
So so who is somebody you would like to work with? So they can be dead, they can be alive, or they could be a fictional person. Do you have so if you could just have one dream person to ever work with?
hmm I I don't know. I don't know. This may be a tough question. But I really wanna work with James Dean.
Oh yeah.
I wanna work with him. I wanna meet him in person because I think it's too inspirational. And then I love the rebel without cause image of him. So
Yeah.
rebellious. Yeah,
Yeah, so iconic. Yeah.
yeah.
Let's see. Okay, I have one more of these questions that I'm gonna ask you, and then we actually have a question from the audience too. So I'm gonna ask you this question too, and this is something that we talk about in the office, and we have lots of fights about. But so you have to choose one of these four options, and you can only choose one. And if you had to choose between rice, bread, noodles, or potatoes, which one would you choose?
I would love to choose noodle.
Noodles.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All
Something
right.
really like Asian.
We've had a lot of noodles today, so it's catching up to rice. We like I mentioned, we have a question that just came in. So it says, "Thank you for the heartfelt film. I think we can all relate to stories of family pressure and tension. I'm fascinated by the relationship between Van and Coy. I'm imagining how the dynamic will be when Van and hopefully Ian return to visit once again. Have you thought about how the characters' futures will turn out? Oh. Goodbye Mother 2, I guess.
Oh, yeah. I think like when making this film, I received like some complaints about like the ending maybe has not like resolved anything. But my answer is like, you see the nature of family. I think so. People may have some different desire, different expectation for each other. People may have some kind of like argument inside themselves, but like sometimes it's really hard for them to fully express or totally like burst out of tears in any time of the day. But so we keep like keeping the love, keeping like the hope, keeping not keeping not keeping keeping the all of the doubt for everybody until one day at the point we hit the boiling point of everything, and then like the whole family members can just like explode. Yeah. So so I think like this is the nature of every single family. So I think like at the end of the day, if Van and Ian return back home, maybe Van is still the same. No, Coy, the other character he's still the same. He's still kind of like jealous with Van somehow because Van still receive the love from the grandmom.
Yeah.
But boy will try to like be like nicer. I don't know. If you watch the ending of the film, you see like there is kind of like acceptance in a different way in the whole style, acceptance in the relationship. He doesn't do anything anymore. He just watch them living, and then he feel like okay, those two guys, I don't like him, or maybe like he's I have my own lives. I don't care. They can do whatever they want, and then he left. So like this is the ending shot for Coy in the film, and I think it's going to happen just like basically like that. If there's something else going to happen in the future, yeah.
So I was wondering. There's one last question here. We'll sneak this one in and then wrap it up soon. So, have you seen any films by Vietnamese American filmmakers?
Oh yeah, I do watch some. For example, like he's the director Bảo Nguyễn. He make documentaries, and he also one of my really close friends. And I wanna watch the newest film by Bảo Trần, the Tigers. I'm sorry, I have to look up on the internet.
Yeah,
the
Paper
Tigers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanna check that out. And a lot of Vietnamese American film have been showing in Vietnam. For example, like we also like have the films. My short-term memory, I cannot recall it. But I watch really often. And then like there are some Vietnamese American filmmakers coming to Vietnam and making really good films here. For example, like Charlie Nguyen, he make The Rebel back then, and now he's continue making more films in Vietnam. So I really appreciate all of the works from Vietnamese American filmmakers. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And so it's one of these things that is always kind of asked at the end of a Q&A is like, what are you working on now? But for the audience, actually, so Min actually had another film released this year, right? So so can you tell us the name of that film and
so the title,
just a little bit about what that is?
The title of that film is Invisible Evidence. It's a thriller and a crime, so people may be some kind of surprise because like okay, after watching Goodbye Mother, you see like this director has a style of like making calm and maybe gentle films, but then the next film he make like a thriller films. So yeah, if you have opportunity, you can find it online maybe next year. It's called Invisible Evidence, and you may be surprised.
Okay. And then are you working on anything now then?
For sure, as a director, I have to keep like working on other films. So basically, I'm in the early development stage of the other project, and this time I think I'm going to explore the relationship between father and daughter, and also like there's some like romance elements in the film itself, but also the genre of this film also like kind of like a mix between different genre. Just like Goodbye Mother, people can call it like a dramedy, maybe a drama. People can call it even like comedy somehow for Goodbye Mother. So I always love to mix different genre in one films.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, we'll have to look out more for your films in the future. So,
yeah.
so just wanted to really thank you, Min, for joining us. I know it's a little bit early there, so really appreciate you joining us. And so that's all the time we have for tonight. And so wanted to thank Min again, of course, and also Jamie from Toronto Sign Language Interpreter Services, and our producers, Mimi Vong, Josephine Cruz. If you'd like to discuss some more about the film, please check out our film forum. And just reminding you that Relation continues until November 19th. So please join us online at realasian.com. So please, everybody, take care and stay safe.